Definitely, the percentage of death rates amongst positive doctors is nearing 10%. So we are almost succumbing to this disease almost 3 to 4 times more than what the population of India is suffering. And that's why, as I said, we doctors are very bad patients. And majority of the cases which we see, where the doctor has succumbed, invariably when we go into the history of his problem, we see that he has reported to the hospitals quite late, almost 4 or 5 days after he has got infected. When he has become quite bad, when his PO2 shows less than 90%, that is the time when he is forced to go to the hospital, especially by his family members or his friends. And this is something which is very, very sad and very shocking. And I feel that is basically one reason why we are losing doctors left, right, and center all over India. And let me tell you, friends, because majority of today, those who are attending this lecture are family physicians. All over the world, the statistics have shown that the maximum death rate is amongst the family physicians. And that is why I think it is very important that we should try to protect ourselves whenever we are practicing during this COVID era. And one of the reasons why we are finding the death rate so high amongst family physicians is because the sheer numbers of patients that you are seeing in a day. And when you are seeing so many patients in a day, somewhere or the other, we loosen our whole protection that we have as far as this COVID is concerned. Maybe because of the boredom, maybe because of the time factor, or whatever it is. And I will somehow try to convince you today of what you should be doing whenever you practice during this COVID era, so that you can be safe. Because as I said, your life is the most precious thing today, not only to yourself, to your family, but even to society, because each doctor is saving thousands of patients. And therefore I think we should take full control of how we practice today in this COVID era. So what has this basic pandemic brought us to? So there are three-part challenges in this pandemic as far as our medical practice is concerned. One is, how do we stay open in business while protecting the health of providers and staff? That means you yourself and your staff who is working. How do you continue to serve your patients when so many of them are so apprehensive? Even today we find a lot of our patients who give us a call, but they do not come to our clinics because they're scared to come to the clinics, especially when we have a heavy practice and a lot of patients are sitting in a consulting room. And how do we make it financially viable, which is becoming the most important thing after 5 months of this pandemic practice? Because even as doctors, today we are finding that we have been controlling the way we practice. Many of us have not been practicing in the first 3-4 months. But today, even financially, we are also bothered today, and we require to go back to our practice if we want to remain financially viable in the future. And therefore, sometimes, even if we don't want to, especially those who are elderly, those who are with comorbid conditions, we are finding that they are also going in for their practice, and many a times that is where the problem starts. So what we have to understand, and I think these should be the golden words that should be there in all our minds whenever we go for a practice, that every person is potentially infected or colonized with a pathogen that could be transmitted in the healthcare setting. That means every patient that comes to you, you should treat him as if like he is a potentially positive patient and take care accordingly, and only then you can protect yourself in your practice. So here, if you see, how do we start our practice? Many of us have already started our practice, no doubt. But there are some of us who are still not yet started our practice, but will be starting. So the first thing that I tell all my colleagues is that you have a very soft reopening. Many of you in Dharavi have got huge practices. I know you all are seeing patients 50, 100, 150 patients a day. But for God's sake, when you start your practice, till you get used to it and your staff gets used to it, try to control the number of patients that you are seeing. And how you can do that is basically by what the new methodology which is now become legal. That is the video consultations and teleconsultations, which has become very, very common. I'll come to that in the future slides. And stepwise go on increasing your practice. Maybe you may start initially only once a day, then you may slowly go on increasing it to twice a day as we have been doing in the past also. Control the number of patients who come to you initially. Just try to see those patients who absolutely require your help. That means those who are in an emergency, and then slowly go on to the normal patients. Especially in this era of monsoons, where we see a lot of diseases which absolutely mimic what COVID patients are, and I think that has been beautifully presented by Dr. Awad, where he has shown you that majority of these PUOs that come to you during this season cannot be differentiated very easily from the COVID problems. And now we are finding day by day COVID patients are not only presenting with respiratory problems, but they're presenting with, say, gastroenteritis, they're presenting with CNS problems. We were thinking that there is going to be only dry cough which comes with COVID, but now we know that that is not the case. You even get classical, what we are seeing, the wet coughs during this season. They come also with COVID positivity. And then, of course, a very important thing that he has told you, that almost 70 to 80% of these patients are asymptomatic. And these are the patients that you have to be very careful when you are examining. So, start your practice in a stepwise way. Do not start with a bang like how we would like to do it, because this era does not allow you to practice that way as you would definitely like to. And not only you have to think about yourself, but even another important aspect is to think about your staff, because as you know today, it is very difficult for us to work alone. We require our staff to help us day in, day out. And therefore, it is very important that we take care of our staff also. Another aspect would be that invariably our compounders are youngsters, and youngsters are the one who are asymptomatic carriers. So they may carry this disease to you, from whom you can directly get infected. So see to it that even you keep a watch on your staff members, so they should not be, spreading this disease to you in the future. Then, of course, what are the security measures that they require? They, just like how we take care of ourselves, we must take care of our staff also. But invariably, our compounders or our assistants or whoever they may be not that well versed as far as this COVID is concerned. So what we require to do is, we require to spend some time to train them into what are the standard protocols as far as taking care during this COVID period is concerned. The universal precautions must be followed when they are dealing with the patients. Not only you, but they also deal with the patients. They give the medicines to the patients. Many a times they take the patient's pulse and BP, or they give, sometimes even injections are given by the compounders or your staff. So they should also be taught how to go about as far as when they come in close contact with the patients. Then, of course, hand washing and sanitizers is going to be the thing that is not only going to be during this COVID era, but I think we are going to learn to do this for our life in future whenever we are practicing, especially in a place like Dharavi. What about what you are supposed to, as far as you provide to your personnel with training on preventing transmission of infectious agent, including refresher courses? This is also very important, and I think Dr. Awad will agree with me. In the last 5 months, the way we are looking at this disease, the way we are treating this disease, I think almost after every 2 to 3 weeks it is changing. So when that changes, I think you have to learn about what the changes are as far as this disease is concerned. Not only that, you have to also teach your staff as far as what these changes are and how to adapt to these changes, not only now but in the future also. Then, of course, I think I'm not going to go as far as the standard equipment cleaning and everything is concerned. Majority of us in these last 5 months have learned as far as that is concerned. But what you require to do is this last line, that inform the public health officials of the presence of a patient suspected of being infected with this virus. This is extremely important, and I think what we have achieved in Dharavi is your clinical judgment of trying to find out these patients during an era that was in early April, where we did not have enough of testing materials also. It was very difficult to get the testings done. It was purely a clinical judgment of trying to isolate these patients. And I think that is what has come in good stead as far as controlling the pandemic is concerned in Dharavi area. So you continue doing the same thing, because many a times we are finding that our patients do not go to get themselves tested in spite of us trying to tell them to do it. But the latest study that has come out, and especially after the study which has been done in May and June, they have said that one infected patient or one carrier will infect almost 80 or to 82 patients. So you can imagine the amount of infectivity he is going to spread. So it is extremely important to isolate this patient or take him away from the society so that he is not roaming in the society. So what are the basics of protection that you require? As far as your practice is concerned, this is, I think, all that you may require today in Dharavi. This slide I would not have put up sometime in April and May, because at that time we were in the red hot zone in Dharavi and we required definitely protection beyond what is given in this slide. But today, definitely, because of the efforts put in by all of you, Dharavi has come a little bit under control. So this is all that you require in your OPD. Of this, I think you know the N95 mask. I would say that the first mask, that is the three-ply mask, should not be used by doctors at all. That does not protect you. Take it from me. Do not use the three-ply mask. Whatever the ICMR tells you, whatever the government tells you, and this fight I have been having with the government right from day one, where they were insisting that in the OPD, especially even in the medical colleges, they were asking the residents who are the first contact with these patients to use three-ply mask. But no, three-ply mask does not protect you. N95 mask is the one that will protect you. N95 masks are available very easily today, and they are quite cheap. Plus the ICMR has come up with the guidelines that you can use 5 N95 masks at one, one after the other, and then repeat the mask which you have used the first day on the sixth day. Having done that almost the whole month with your taking away the Sunday holiday, the whole month you can use 5 masks, and therefore it is not very costly also, because now the masks price have now stabilized at around 120, 150. But my request to you is, there are n number of spurious and bogus masks with the printed N95 which is there in the market. Do not use those. You see to it that they are either FFP2, that is those ones which come from the European standards, or the N95 mask with the NIOSH, NIOSH, which is printed on that. Only try to use, or the Citra certified mask, only try to use those masks. You are getting very cheap masks for 25, 30 rupees with just that N95 which is printed on this. But you have to protect yourself. Do not use this. Another important aspect is using this face shield. Face shield is a must when you are doing your OPD practice. Remember that, because your eyes are going to be the another source through which you can get infected. That mucous membrane is also very, very important when you're coming in contact with the patient. Use the face shield compulsorily whenever you are there sitting in your OPD. And gloves, of course, I think majority of us are using these gloves. Now, these are the standard masks. If you all are interested, of course, this is available on the net also. So I'm not going to spend more time on this. The shoe covers that you see over here, we were advising to our doctors in Dharavi, as I said, sometime in April. But nowadays that is not much required, because we have definitely got a control on this disease in Dharavi. But the face shield, the gloves and the N95 mask are a must as far as our practice is concerned. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. Not only you, but even your compounder, I think you should give them. Do not look at this three-ply mask. You should give them the N95 mask, the face shield, and the gloves, which are important even for them to be wearing. So this is the full PPE kit that I used to advise all our friends whenever sometime in April and May, and I think that is what majority of us were using in Dharavi also. But today the isolation gowns you may or you may not use, but remember, even if you don't use the isolation gowns, the clothes that you are wearing whenever you go home, immediately remove them and put them in soap water so that you do not carry this disease to your house people. Again, I think this slide is also, it is okay when I speak to those who are doing the ICU work or those who are doing in the OT and all. This is really not required for us today. This is another very important aspect. This is what in Dharavi we had asked the municipal corporation to do. I am not aware if they are still doing it. If I'm not mistaken, they must have stopped it, but it is high time we start doing it ourselves. Make our compounders use this in the morning before we start our clinic and when we shut our clinic in the night. So I think even Mahim Dharavi people, I think the association has also made this available to all of us. So let us make use of this and get used to, because we have to use it for the next minimum 6 months. So even the percentage wise, I think 1% for the flooring and you know, 0.1 to 0.5% depending on what you use it on your instruments or you know, your beds and everything. But this must be done every day, remember that, if you want to be quite safe. So this is just what this is basically a slide of the hospital setup. But I would say the number 5 one, that is the doctor's chambers, is what is there that you should follow. And this basically I tell all my colleagues, because if you remember, this is not a slide by ICMR. This is a slide by from America, and there they have said that there is a moderate risk in the doctor's chambers also, and N95 mask is a must. Unfortunately, even today ICMR says that a three-ply mask would be okay for you, but please do not follow ICMR, at least in this one aspect. Then of course we come, how do you screen these patients whenever they come? I think telemedicine is teletriaging, that as we say, tele is the most important thing. If on the phone itself you can try to get some history of the patient before he comes to you, it will go to a great extent in helping you to, you know, isolate these patients away from the other patients and away from your staff also. So if there is a history of fever, do not make the patient sit in your consulting room for long. See these patients on a priority basis so that they are out of your clinic as early as possible. So the every patient should be screened. I think now even the guns have become very cheap, so you can start using the temperature guns also on all your patients. And another thing that you should do is, you know, in our Indian psych, we always have one patient who's accompanied by 2 to 4 house people. Please avoid that. See to it, if it's an adult patient, he comes alone to the clinic and enters your consulting room alone. Do not encourage his relatives to come along with the clinic, because you will not know when or how these relatives, one of these relatives could be a carrier, asymptomatic carrier also. Then of course, as you see in this slide, whenever a patient comes to you, you know, there are two aspects of our management of these patients. One aspect is the history taking and the other aspect is the examination of the patient. When you take the history, see to it that patient is minimum 3 to 6 feet away from you. Do not let him sit just opposite your table. In my consulting room, the chairs are shifted towards the wall, minimum 4 feet away from where I sit. Take the full history from a distance from the patient and then examine the patient and finish the examination within 2 to 3 minutes. It has been proved by many studies that the amount of time that you spend with the patient is directly related to your getting infected. So the more time you spend with the patient, the more chances of you getting infected. So please do not spend time with the patient for long, and that you can do by taking a history from a distance and examining the patient within 2 to 3 minutes. Don't waste more time than that. Another important aspect is do not allow anybody, any patient or relatives of the patient to enter your clinic without wearing a cloth face covering. See, patients or the relatives do not require this three-ply mask. A simple cloth mask is more than enough. There have been, I think, enough videos coming on your WhatsApp to show you what is the percentage of infectivity when suppose only you are wearing a mask, the patient is not wearing a mask, or you are not wearing a mask and the patient is wearing a mask, or both you and the patient wearing a mask. You and the patient wearing a mask, almost we are protected 90 to 92%. These are studies which have come out. So see to it that every patient who walks into your clinic has a mask. Do not allow them. The other thing that I do in my clinic is I have kept a bunch of these three-ply masks, disposable masks, which are there. Nowadays, disposable masks hardly whenever you buy in bulk is costing around 5 to 7 rupees. So you can afford to keep that. And if a patient walks into your clinic and you don't want to lose that patient, the minimum you can do is you can offer him that mask, that he should wear the mask and then enter your clinic. That is what I do, and that is what I request all of you to do. So these are some of the masks which are there, and you have to understand uh, two important aspects in this line. As I said, this is the NIOSH that I was telling you. NIOSH N95, that should be what the mask should be printed, not just N95 that we are seeing today being printed. Only that N95 is printed on these masks. These are not standardized masks. So either they should be CITRA certified, NIOSH, or they should be FFP2, that is the European standard. N95 is the American standard. So this is what you should be wearing. Okay, this is what the patient should be wearing, either this or if they are these masks. But see to it that when they wear these masks, they dispose these masks, because these are only one use masks, they cannot be used again and again. So this is the standard that a patient should be wearing. For God's sake, some patients who think they are extra smart or they have a lot of money, they walk into your clinic with this mask with a valve. Do not allow them to walk into your clinic with this mask, because if they are positives, asymptomatic positives, or they could be with fever or anything, remember, they are protecting themselves, but you are not protecting when they use these masks, because these valves allow the breath of that patient to come out, especially when he is talking, and they can definitely spread the infection to you and to your staff. So if they come with this mask, you either give them a three-ply mask, which is a surgical mask, or let them wear a three-ply mask on top of their, valve, so that the valve is not exposed to you. So this is extremely important practice, and what you should practice day in and day out. Do not allow any of your friends, do not allow any of your patients to come near you with this valve mask. These valve